I'm live. I know there's always a delay before people actually come in, so we'll just wait. So for anyone watching the replay, you're gonna have to deal with this awkward couple of minutes. Hi, welcome. Welcome. Just wait for a few more to come in, and then I'll fill you in on what this live is really gonna be about. Welcome, welcome. Hi, welcome. Just waiting for a few more. In the meantime, I'm going to play a little bit of calming music. If I can find it here on my laptop, bear with me. Welcome. This live is going to be a little bit different from what I usually do. Let me know how that volume is if you care to. So tonight, or depending on when you're watching this, because this will be posted as a replay, we're gonna have a little bit of scheduled or of forced self-care. And reason being is that I get a lot of feedback from my audience and my clients that says that sometimes they find it really hard to start implementing ritual or routine that they know will be good for them, that they know will benefit them. And I've been there. I've had the running list of all the different coping mechanisms or tools I want to try, and I know I should try, but I just can't get myself past that initial consideration phase. And something that's always helped me was having people like myself that I follow or followed online that held space like this. When I was in early recovery, I would say probably about a year in, I joined this online recovery group, and at the time it wasn't as common to see things like this, but I know it's far more commonplace now. Anyways, we would get on this private Facebook group once or twice a week, maybe twice, maybe it was Tuesdays and Thursdays, if I'm remembering correctly. And for the hour that the host was live, which was like, it was like alternating volunteer hosts from the group, we would all just kind of sit and be in the space together and walk through these different reflection questions that were provided by the host. And so if nothing else that week, I knew I was getting online twice in the evenings, twice out of those 7 days, for a focused hour of scheduled self-care. Now, if you're familiar with my work at all, you'll know that I don't usually like to think of self-care in terms of just fixed events. It's kind of like an ongoing process of parenting yourself and nurturing yourself throughout the day. But there are seasons of our lives when that's just a little bit too much. So scheduled self-care is what we're going to do tonight, with a particular focus on journaling, because questions are my preferred method of guiding people. I'm doing my job correctly if I'm asking you questions that get you thinking and lead you towards the answers you're really seeking, and the answers you're often seeking from external sources. It's all within you. Sometimes all it takes is the right question. I don't have anyone in here currently. I did, but we've lost them. So let me get myself set up, and I will just carry on as if there are people here. And if I get some folks that pop in and out, perhaps we can get them to participate a little bit, but it doesn't matter. I'm mainly focused on having this as a cohesive 25 to 30 minutes, ideally, that people can throw on when they need to. So maybe you can choose time in your schedule that works for you and commit to yourself that you will put on this video or put on a video. There's a lot like this online, and journal with the person leading. Tonight it's going to be me. The first question I have for you, and there's 4 questions all related to each other. Something I didn't necessarily think through was how I was going to display these questions to you, so I'm just going to repeat myself a couple times. But the first question is, name 3 things that are thriving in your life right now. Name 3 things without hesitation. I don't want you to give this one too much thought. This is a form of gratitude practice. So if you'd like an example, 3 things that are thriving in my life are my son. He's really thriving. My relationship, not only romantically, but we're kicking ass as partners. We've been dealt some very interesting cards these last 6 months or so, and I think that we're doing a really good job. So 3 things that are thriving: my son, my relationship, and number 3, my creative practice. I've been in really good creative flow lately, so that's a part of my life that's thriving. 3 things that are thriving: my son, my relationship, and my creative flow. So now it's your turn. If you haven't already yet, I want you to write down 3 things that are thriving. And while you're doing that, I'm going to light some incense and clear the energy for us a little bit. Three things that are thriving. And you don't have to explain to anyone why they're thriving or how it is that they're thriving. It doesn't even have to necessarily make sense written on paper. Only to you in your heart. 3 things that are thriving. I'll give you like a minute more. This should be a quick one. And really, if you want to do yourself a favor to set yourself up for a better day, name 3 to 5 to 10 things that are thriving every morning when you get up. Write them down, put them somewhere where you can see them, have them in your phone as your background. Make a note, screenshot it. Thriving, thriving, thriving. Okay. Now the first more reflective question. In what area of your life are you growing? In what area of your life are you growing? So you're not exactly where you want to be yet, but you're making progress. You're growing. You feel yourself growing, or someone has mentioned to you that you're growing in this area, or some other series of events have shown you that you're growing. Maybe this question right now is what makes you realize, in what area of your life are you growing? And I'll give you my example. The area of my life where I'm growing right now is my time management. In the last month, I've had more on my plate, I think, than I ever have. It's all positive. It's all exciting. It's all welcomed. But I've never had to manage my time in the way that I am having to do so now. So if you've just joined, the question I'm asking is, in what area of your life are you growing? Taking some time to reflect on this. And I see myself growing in my time management because as the days have gone on, it's been more smooth. It's not perfect yet, but I'm finding ways to make my time work better for me, to make the hours I have in my day more, I don't want to say productive because that's not the goal, more easeful. Let's put it that way. I'm arranging myself and my activities in a way that is more easeful. So this is the area in my life that I'm growing in. So in what area of your life are you growing? You're not exactly where you want to be yet, but you know you're making progress. And this could be progress you've seen over the span of a year. It could be progress over the span of a week. The question should be received by you in whatever way that you interpret it initially. Okay. I'm going to give you a little more time on this one because I think it's really important that you answer as truthfully as you possibly can. And for those just joining us, we're reflecting on the question, in what area of your life are you growing? Try to stick to one for now, just for the purposes of this exercise. And if you can't pinpoint one area that you're growing in, I beg to differ. There's got to be something. So dig deep, dig deeper. If you're hitting resistance to this question, dig deeper. It seems like on the surface such a simple question, but it's one that if we don't take inventory of it consciously, we might be bypassed by these things, by these evolutions within ourselves. And if we're not witnessing the evolution, it's very hard to feel like we're moving in the right direction. It's critical that we can take time to observe ourselves, to observe our process. And this type of scheduled self-care is the ideal time to do something like this, should you not do it on a daily basis already. Something I wish that they showed us on these lives is how long we've been live for. And that's okay. And what area of your life are you growing? Second question, in what area of your life do you feel stuck? Like you can't make progress? In what area of your life are you having a really hard time determining the next move? So if growing in a certain area means you're not exactly where you want to be at, but you're making movement, feeling stuck is knowing you're not where you want to be and having zero idea or zero motivation or energy to know how to get the ball rolling and to get the ball rolling, one or the other or both. It's exactly as it sounds like. Stuck. Stuck, stuck, stuck. I'll tell you one thing about being stuck. You're not getting out the way that you came to be stuck. You can only move through in the other direction. It's good to know how you got there, but that's not how you're going to make it out. In what area of your life do you feel stuck? I'll give you my example in vague terms because I'm not here to process with you. I just want to help you with your own reflection. There are certain boundaries with certain people in my life that I just can't seem to hold to. I go in with very good intention to either deliver or maintain the boundary in a certain way. And I know better. This is the work that I do. But I'm really living in an old story and I feel stuck. I have an idea of how to, no, I shouldn't say I have an idea. I know exactly how to make it different. But like I mentioned before, I'm lacking the ability to get the ball rolling. I will say though, naming this out loud and having a witness is going to make a difference here. And you'll notice this too. The more that you reflect in this way and hopefully start sharing with at least one person in your life, whether it's a coach that you're working with or a friend or family member that has the capacity for it and that you feel safe sharing with, the lighter you're going to make that thing on yourself. Sometimes to name the pain is to soothe it. So this might not necessarily be pain in the traditional sense. It might be more of a frustration or low energy, but to name it and to have someone witness it can be just enough to completely flip it around. So in what area of your life do you feel stuck? And while I have you, I want to mention today is April 11th, so you're watching this live, but if you're watching this on the replay and it's already too late, I'm sorry, but stay tuned for more. Hi. I'm just leading a little bit of reflection, some scheduled or forced self-care. And the question right now is, in what area of your life do you feel stuck? The question before that was, in what area of your life are you growing? So you're not exactly where you want to be, but you're making progress. And the first question was, name 3 things in your life that are thriving. So name 3 things in your life that are thriving. Where are you growing? Where do you feel stuck? Welcome. It's nice to have you here. Before you came, I was just going to do a little plug for the events that I have this weekend, which are actually in person. So if you're local to my area, this one's for you. I don't always do in-person events. This weekend, I happen to have 2. So Saturday, April 15th, Sound and Reiki with Veronica from Casima Wellness. And this is at Zen House Yoga in Niagara Falls from 2 to 3. I think I already said that. Really looking forward to it. The frequency of sound, the frequency of Reiki, all in one space. It's going to be delicious and so serene. Don't miss it. Schedule that self-care, 2 to 3, an hour on Saturday to ground completely and meditate. And then on the Sunday, April 16th, an in-person healing circle at the Nook, which is in Grimsby. Cute little spot that I am really excited to host from. And this is going to be the exact same format as my virtual healing circles. So we start with some education. This time it'll be about the energy body in general. So the 7 chakras, the 7 main chakras, and the aura, and how you can better take care of these things for yourself in the context of your own life, and we're going to reflect like we're doing here. And then the second half will be a guided meditation with Reiki. Going to be really beautiful. So looking forward to that. Both events are linked in my bio. If you're watching the replay and it's too late, more to come, and more virtual events as well. So usually with the virtual healing circles, they're based on the moon. And this evening, or well, today, it kind of already happened, but we have a special astrological event. So April 11th is considered one of the luckiest days of the year because it's Jupiter Cazimi. So the sun conjoined with Jupiter in Aries today, which is like the most auspicious thing that could happen to us right now. So if you've got any new intentions that you want to set and get the ball rolling with, now's the time. Now is the time. Set those intentions and create a plan of action because the astrology is really in your favor. For those of you just joining, we're doing a little bit of reflection. And actually, the last question I have here is perfect for the Cazimi, and that's why I mention it now. And it's, what steps come between where you are now and where you want to be? What steps come between where you are now and where you want to be? What steps that you know of? Because of course, on the path, sometimes we get knocked off. Sometimes we have to course correct. Things happen that we could never plan for. But what steps right now that you know of can you name between here and where you want to be? And if you can't think of any, again, I beg to differ. But I'm going to tell you right now that it's more than likely that your number one step will be to shift your mindset about it. To take inventory of that mental energy. Look at what thoughts, which translates into belief that you're having about whatever it is you're trying to achieve. Look at old stories, programming. Look at the conversations you're having about the thing. Look at the conversations you're having with other people, just in general. What's your language like? What are you calling in with your throat chakra? So if you can't think of any steps between where you are now and where you want to be, consider your mental energy and how it needs to shift to make you more aligned with your desired outcome, your desired reality, because that's the real quantum leap, is shifting the mind. And the rest will follow. I'd like you to come up with more than that though, if you can. I know my steps. I know the steps that I can foresee, all things considered. Keeping in mind, of course, that we can always be knocked off our path. We can be caught off guard, and we often are. But knowing, given all of the facts of today, what should happen can give us a good idea of how to take aligned action going forward. And being that it is the Jupiter Cazimi, why don't you also write down an intention that you have? Maybe related to these steps or unrelated, it's up to you. This is your reflection. But make sure you write it out. And maybe even write it as if it's already happened. Let's manifest it. The energy is oh so perfect for that. I didn't really do a volume check. I hope that you could hear this. Just to add to the ambiance. If you weren't here when we started, I talked a little bit about the reason that I decided to set up the live like this tonight, and it was that in the beginning of my recovery, sometimes I found it really hard to brain fart. I found it really hard to get myself into the habit of doing or creating rituals and doing these self-care activities, implementing these coping mechanisms that I knew would be good for me, but I just couldn't get myself there. And this is something I commonly hear from people. Like, why don't I want to do the work, but why don't I want to do the work? I don't exactly have the answer for that because I don't know your situation. But for me, I think I was a little bit intimidated and I had a hard time focusing. So I joined an online recovery group. I think I was about a year into recovery. And twice a week, we were in this private Facebook group, and the host would go live and we would spend that hour and a half, whatever it was, just reflecting. People would share, sometimes they wouldn't, we'd play music, whatever. I don't remember the specifics, but it was a way for me to force myself to do the work. It kept me accountable to it. So I was hoping that whoever this reached this evening might need some scheduled self-care too. And if you're watching the replay, this will be available to you on my page whenever you need to return to it. I did this as a pretty basic inventory that's helpful to take really anytime. Name 3 things that are thriving to warm us up, and that's a gratitude practice. You can do that every day. You should do that every day. And try to name more than 3. Name 5, name 10. And then the 3 main questions, the bulk of this. In what area of your life are you growing? So you're not exactly where you want to be, but there's progress being made, as indicated by the way that you're feeling about it, as indicated by someone telling you, hey, I noticed you're growing this way, or any other event or circumstance that has led you to recognize, hey, I'm making progress. In what area do you feel stuck? Could be as big or as small as it needs to be. Remembering that sometimes just naming the thing, and especially having somebody witness it, whether it's a coach, a friend, a family member, whatever have you, is enough to alleviate it, is enough to get you unstuck, or at least get the ball rolling. And the last one, what steps come between where you are now and where you want to be? And if none come to mind, you gotta know that that first one is almost for sure going to be to shift the mindset, shift the mental energy, take inventory there. See what you're thinking about the thing. See what stories are floating around. What's the narrative there? And how can it be better aligned with your desired outcome or reality? And that's all. Thank you. I will do this again, but I'll be surprising you. I won't tell you when. I gotta figure out a way to have the questions up so when people join, I don't have to repeat. Not that it's a problem. I just know it might be annoying for those that are here. I hope that this was helpful. Let me know. And let me know if you want to dive deeper with these questions, because that's sort of the work that I do. As I had said earlier, I'm doing my job right if I can ask you a question that leads you to a breakthrough. My preferred method of guiding my clients and the other people in my life is not to tell them what to do, but to get them thinking about what's right for them. Satnam, I'm grateful for you. I love you. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on when you watch this. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll talk soon.